Greetings from North Texas and welcome to the Final Four. I'm Ken Spencer and you're watching Destination Dallas, WHAS11's Final Four preview special. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we're going to break down the Cats and the Wisconsin Badgers in great detail. You're going to hear from John Calipari, the players, the Badgers. We're going to catch up with the fans who've made the trip down here to North Texas from the Bluegrass State. And I'm going to go one-on-one with Mitch Barnhart. First off, let's get right to it. The teams invaded AT&T Stadium today for their open practices, which is more like a glorified shoot-around. The past 48 hours, the UK team has been whisked away in golf carts for interviews, video shoots, photo shoots. It really has been a whirlwind for the Cats. Kentucky trying to stay focused while taking it all in.
Definitely, it's a lot, but it's fun at the same time. A lot of people aren't here, a lot of people are at home. So you got to take advantage of it and just live it and know it comes with the territory. It's exciting. I mean, it's what young basketball players dream of growing up, just playing, being a part of the tournament.
Try to just minimize it and just stay focused on the little stuff we have to do and really just execute.
People treating you like all this, you know, we still got to stay focused. You still got to stay focused on the goal you have and what you came here to accomplish.
This is John Calipari's fifth trip to the Final Four, his third while the coach at Kentucky. And when Coach Cal takes to the podium at a Final Four, he captivates the audience. Today, he talked about his current team and some of the criticism he faces.
Don't believe all the hype, including me. Know that each of these kids needs to be coached, needs to be challenged. You need to define their roles, however good they are. And at the end of the day, they can't do it by themselves. And with a young team early in the season, what I learned, you got to make it really hard. You got to be really specific. You got to start defining things earlier than I did. But I will tell you, this has been, for me, to see the joy in individual players, and I'm talking from our best player to one of our walk-ons. It's been an amazing ride. I don't read it, and I don't care. It makes no bearing on me coaching these young people. I literally watch History Channel. I've been watching this Alaska stuff. Have you been watching that? And it's really good. Last night they had some stuff on that was really good. They're, you know, Zero Under or whatever it was called. But I don't listen to it. I could care less. I'm not 35. I'm 45 now. Does it matter if it's 1 or 4 years? Unless you're ingrained in this is how it has to be. And if not, I hate you. I mean, I'm at a loss. That's why I don't read it, don't care. All I do is, let me take care of these kids.
You know, a lot of the question for UK fans entering this Final Four, will they have Willie Cauley-Stein? Well, it looks doubtful, even though Willie will not take himself out of the game or say that he will not play. Today during the open practice, he pretty much was off the court talking to fans in the stands. And when he was on the court, just kind of dribbling a basketball, went through no basketball activities. I guess the good sign would be he wasn't wearing a boot, he wasn't on crutches, but you got to think he is doubtful at best tomorrow night against Wisconsin. And as far as the open practice goes, it's so nice to see the fans able to come into AT&T Stadium, get to see their favorite team as Alex Schumann now
absolutely
joins us. And let's say, Alex, did you say Blue got in?
They got in. Big Blue Nation came here in full force, and I caught up with a lot of the fans to ask them how they think or what they think about the team is going to lead them to the national championship. What are your thoughts right now about the game tomorrow?
They're going to do really good. I have really good confidence in them.
Confidence. That last word from young Hilton Sizemore is just a mild description of how fans feel about Saturday.
We want number 9. We want the 9th banner to be hanging from Rupp Arena.
And everyone seems to give the same reason for why they believe the Wildcats can come out on top.
I think it's just like the team chemistry. We're gelling a lot really right now.
It's like everything's gelling with the team. They're having fun. I think that's the biggest thing with them.
Playing together, playing as a team as opposed to playing for themselves.
Fans flew in and drove overnight to get here for just Friday's open practice. They are impressed by the massiveness of AT&T Stadium, but they only see it as a chance to fit in more Cats fans.
It's a great atmosphere. It's going to be a really, really, really good time tomorrow.
And Ken, all of these fans, everybody I asked said that they got their hotel reservations until Tuesday, so they're feeling good about tomorrow night.
You know, when a place holds 90,000, like you said in the story of the fan said, more the merrier?
Absolutely. And later I'm going to be telling you, we went and talked to some of the high school coaches of Julius Randle and his mom, and we got their take on how his game has changed from high school into his first year at college.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alex. Obviously, Julius Randle from this area. And this is actually not Kentucky's first time playing a basketball game inside AT&T Stadium. The Cats were down here in early December where they met Baylor in the middle of an ice storm. Kentucky lost that game 67-62, but even though it was a little bit different setup, this team knows what it's like to play a 40-minute game inside this huge building.
It really should, because the atmosphere was it was half the court last time, but this time it's going to be open, so it's going to be a lot more room than it was last time, but I feel like we'll be used to it.
I mean, you can't do nothing. It can't do no harm, really. So, but it's going to be incredibly different. You know, stands going to be filled now. There's barely people here when we played them last time.
Honestly, I don't really think so. I mean, the atmosphere, there's probably 3,000 people here because of the ice storm. And I really don't think it'll be an advantage at all just because the environment's going to be so different.
All right, when we come back on Destination Dallas, we're going to find out what makes the Wisconsin Badgers tick. And I go one-on-one with UK Athletics Director Mitch Barnhart. Stay with us. Welcome back to Destination Dallas. You know, Wisconsin got here to the Final Four out of the West region. They were the 2 seed and beat Arizona in a thriller overtime game in the Elite Eight. The Badgers 30-7 on the season, and Wisconsin's also the only team in the country that's won games in the 40s all the way to the 100s.
Uncommon, especially in terms of the history of Wisconsin. Just because of the way how versatile we are as a team, the style we play.
At one point this season, Wisconsin was 16-0 and ranked 3rd in the country. But then adversity hit the Badgers when they lost 5 of 6 in January.
Some teams did some things where they exposed weaknesses, and we didn't shoot it well.
Well, just getting back to what we do, and that's just play disciplined basketball and play, the style Coach Ryan wants us to play. We got away from that.
It was good for us because it created patience, it created endurance. So it definitely helped out.
Wisconsin's style is deliberate but effective. The question is, can it work against Kentucky's athletes?
It doesn't really matter who we play as long as we take care of business. Obviously, Kentucky's a very talented team with more athletes than the usual team. So obviously we have to, realize that and respect that very much, which we do.
Offensively, Wisconsin's one of those teams that want to stretch you out and shoot a ton of threes. This Badger team has made more threes in a single season than any Wisconsin team ever. How about that? As for Kentucky, their road here was not easy. The Midwest region was considered murderer's row. The Cats absolutely dodged a minefield to get here to the Final Four. And, they caught a lot of people by surprise during that road. One guy they didn't catch by surprise, their athletics director. Earlier today, I had a chance to catch up with Mitch Barnhart.
The progress that this group has made has been remarkable, and it's been it wasn't an easy path. Even when they got going, it wasn't an easy path. The teams that they put in front of these guys was Cinderella stories and magical runs by other teams that were supposed to continue, and these guys had to take all that on. And what John's done with this team has been special, and so the way the kids have reacted and the big plays at the end of games and the way they've handled has been really, really special, a lot of fun.
Proof you never give up on a team?
Well, I mean, I think that, I think that if you look, and that's why we play sports. I mean, you go through this business as long as I've been in. I've been, this is my 33rd year in college athletics, and I've seen a lot of great stories, and a lot of great runs, and things that you didn't think could happen. And this is one of the more remarkable runs. But don't ever give up on anybody. I mean, I'm thankful these kids didn't quit. They fought, and then things clicked, and little things started happening, and here we are.
A 3rd Final Four in 4 years. It's a pretty remarkable stat. Do you soak these up a little bit more as you continue to go to more of them?
Well, I mean, I think, you don't know how many times you're going to get back, and you certainly want to appreciate being here. That's why I told our staff the other morning. We have a morning staff meeting every morning when we're down here, and I said, day one, I said, let's make sure we have fun. I said, because you don't know if you get back to these again. We certainly hope so, and that's the goal. We'll continue to try and put things in place to give us the best chance, but to be able to have a chance to get to these, you don't know when you get to come back, and so you want to appreciate and have fun. There's work to be done, and everybody does that, and these guys have worked really hard at it, and proud of them.
All right, Kentucky is an 8 seed. They're the lowest seed, still standing in this Final Four. Only 5 8 seeds have ever made the Final Four. Kentucky being one of those. Only one of them won the national title. That was Villanova in 1985. That Final Four was played in Rupp Arena. When we come back on Destination Dallas, we catch up with UK beat writer for the Courier-Journal, Kyle Tucker, to talk about the Cats and the Badgers. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Destination Dallas. Right now I am joined by the UK beat writer of the Courier-Journal, the one and only Kyle Tucker. And Kyle, the first thing I want to start off with over the last 2 days, we've talked to these guys a lot, both on the podium, in the locker room. What's your sense of this Kentucky team kind of heading into this Final Four?
Yeah, I think they're all very happy to be here. I think relieved to be here, because just getting here, I think at this point washes away the negativity of the regular season. But there are guys like Alex Poitras who want to finish this thing, and I think all of them really do, because I think they know that to fully wipe the slate clean and to be remembered as a truly special team, winning it all is sort of the standard at Kentucky.
We've seen Willie Cauley-Stein over the last 2 days. He doesn't look good. He's no longer in a boot. He's no longer on crutches. But let's be very honest. He's not going to play Saturday night. If they win, if they beat Wisconsin, he's not going to play on Monday night in a possible title game. So what does Dakari Johnson, Marcus Lee, those guys have to do against this particular Wisconsin team?
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge to see how Calipari decides to throw at Frank Kaminsky, they have a 7-footer who's a terrible mismatch. He steps out and shoots threes. Willie would have been the perfect guy to defend him, a 7-footer who steps out and defends the perimeter. So I think Marcus Lee is going to have to be a factor, because Dakari Johnson, I don't think, can get out there and move the way they need him to. And so I'm really curious to see whether Marcus Lee was a one-game wonder, or if he's a guy that's going to, again, like he's going to be the next chapter in this crazy story, or sort of write his own chapter in this book.
Frank Kaminsky is a 7-footer for Wisconsin. He's averaging 22 points and 7 rebounds over his last 3 games in the NCAA tournament. So on the flip side of that, how does Kentucky have to hurt Wisconsin?
I think Aaron Harrison needs to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, he's been phenomenal in the postseason, shooting 50% from 3. I think 54% just in the NCAA tournament. Has hit the last 2 game winners. If he's hitting from outside, and that's tough in a big building like this, if he's hitting from outside, I think it opens up so many things. It takes a little pressure off Julius Randle. Julius Randle, he's got to be the guy that he's been for about 1/2 in every game, and his mentor likes to call him a 1/2 wonder. This would be a great tournament for him to play 2 halves.
When Aaron Harrison's hitting shots, it's really opening up the court for guys like Julius Randle to be able to work. We've always talked so much about the tweak, and I feel like the tweak was pretty much, instead of maybe an X and O, I think he empowered this team. John Calipari did, and I think that's what's kind of caused this to take off. I mean, are you seeing the same thing there?
Yeah, I think it started with empowering his point guard to say, or taking some of the burden off and say, don't worry about score, drive, kick, get everybody else going. Derive your success from assists, and he did that. You saw him put up huge numbers, assist numbers in the tournament, and that did get everybody else going. Other guys' confidence got going. I think Cal has backed off. He's not coaching them so hard. He's trying to be nicer. It doesn't always work in the game. It kind of falls apart, but I think that's helped them relax.
Well, and it definitely looks like they are having more fun. Folks, he is Kyle Tucker, the UK beat writer for the Courier-Journal. Follow his work. He does an outstanding job. Much more to come on Destination Dallas when we return. Welcome back to Destination Dallas, our Final Four preview show. Alex Schumann joins me once more. And Alex, it's pretty evident when you talk to folks either inside AT&T Stadium or outside, a lot of the focus this week has been on Julius Randle.
Absolutely. He is a hometown guy, and he played here for Prestonwood Christian Academy. And Kent, this is a local powerhouse. They just won the 2014 state championship. And I went over there and talked to one of his coaches about how he feels his game has changed since he went to college.
For the Final Four, Harrison, that shot's
You do not normally think of basketball when you think of Texas.
But football obviously has a history. Yeah, I really believe in the last 10 years that the basketball scene is as good as anywhere in the country.
But in 2013, Texas delivered 5 of the McDonald's All-American players, one of which was Julius Randle.
He had that dream. How amazing this dream has come true.
Coaches at Prestonwood Christian Academy knew Julius Randle would be a great player when he was still in middle school.
Not your typical looking freshman, but very skilled, very talented, very gracious person. Man, just fun-loving. We had a blast the entire time.
He was already 6'8" his freshman year in high school. Chris Lovell, the assistant coach when Julius joined, remembers the big player dominating the court.
I mean, look at him right now. Think about him playing against a high school kid. You know, it was a little unfair.
Lovell has watched Julius make huge strides in his first college season.
I mean, I think college basketball has been good for Julius.
The high school coach believes Calipari has done an especially good job molding Randle into a player who can deliver the entire 40 minutes, rather than just creating moments off and on throughout the game.
But you can tell that Coach Calipari has been able to drive him and push him to play harder, to play faster than maybe he did when he was in high school.
Many of the people who watched his skills grow through the years now get to watch him in front of an expected record-breaking hometown crowd.
What Julius has told me about coming back home to play in the Final Four, he's so excited, he's overjoyed.
Now, you just heard from his mom, and one of the things adding to this homecoming is that his 79-year-old grandmother gets to come watch him in person for the first time in his college career.
And the best part about that, they took the whole team over to his mom's house the other night to spend time with Julius's family.
Yes.
Pretty cool. Great job, Alex. Thank you so much. When we come back on Destination Dallas, we're going to check in on the Gators and the Huskies. Stay with us. You know, believe it or not, Kentucky and Wisconsin, not the only teams playing here in North Texas at the Final Four. The other two, Florida and UConn. The Gators, who were the #1 overall seed entering this tournament, were the SEC regular season and tournament champions. Florida has also won 30 straight games. Their last loss came to UConn. It's a team made up of 4-year players who play so hard on every possession.
It wasn't always easy for them, and I give them credit for being persistent, for staying the course, for dealing with their personal struggles and challenges, to try to overcome them, to battle them, to deal with them head on.
Even though Kentucky is the lowest seed in this Final Four, UConn may be its biggest surprise. The Huskies have a 30-8 overall record. They, of course, are led by Shabazz Napier, who was the AAC Player of the Year and a first-team All-American.
I call him my unpaid coach because that's for a reason, because he has a coaching mentality. Me and him think the same. He knows when to get on guys, but then he knows when to back off of guys too. And I think that's the evolution of him as a leader. And he's getting better and better each and every day. I couldn't think of another point guard that I'd rather give the keys to and let drive the bus.
You know, Shabazz Napier for UConn kind of has that Kemba Walker look. Remember, Walker led the Huskies to a national championship back in 2011, but this UConn team lost to Louisville 3 times by a combined 55 points. Let's get back to that Kentucky-Wisconsin matchup for just a second. Overall, the Cats and the Badgers have met 4 times in their history. Just once in the NCAA tournament, Kentucky won that game in the Sweet 16 back in 2003. They played it in Minneapolis. The Cats are also favored over the Badgers tomorrow night. Thank you so much for watching Destination Dallas, our Final Four preview show. Good night.
I go to